What's going on, everybody? Eric in the front, Perry in the back. We just got out of seeing Drive My Car, which is written and directed by Ryusuke Hamaguchi. And I was really excited to see this film. Both Eric and Perry had already seen this film prior, but I'm completely new to this film. I've only heard nothing but great things about it. I essentially didn't know anything about this film, besides the fact that a lot of people love it, and it got shockingly nominated for a lot of Oscars. I mean, major ones: Best Picture, Best Director, Best Adapted Screenplay, just like
Best International Feature.
Best International Feature. So, I mean, it's a pretty big deal. And it's finally playing in a theater here in Atlanta, and I went to go check it out. We all went to go check it out. And just right out of the gate, I'm going to say that I thought this film was phenomenal. This film I found to be such a moving and just subtle and mature experience. I loved how dialed back this film was, yet felt so incredibly powerful at the same time. It's incredibly meaningful, and I just love the way that this film explores its themes, explores its emotional value. The score in this film is it goes back to how subtle this film is. It's incredibly dialed back, so the score in this film is very sparsely used, and when it's there, it's just like, it just feels so purposeful. It feels so delicately placed, and to me really adds to the experience. Even though it's not there much, when it's there you really feel it. And it's not over dramatic. It's just like, a nice subtle score that I think is really effective. Again, I don't want to say too much because I want to give everybody else a chance to say something. But this is pretty much a 3-hour film. And Perry had told me, I believe Eric also told me that, like, it's a film, like, in the first 20 minutes or so, it's kind of building towards something, so it might, you might be a little skeptical at first, and that's true, because in the first 20 minutes of the film, I was like, okay, this is decent, this is good, but, you're kind of waiting to see if what's being set up here in the beginning is going to build up to something, a bit more meaningful, a bit more powerful, and, after the first 20 minutes, you finally get, like, the opening credits of the film, which I thought was a really interesting choice. And then, it isn't until, like, maybe, like, 40 minutes in to where you, like, it was for me, like, I definitely started realizing, like, I'm watching something that is incredibly crafted. And, anyway, yeah, I'm starting to ramble again, but, yeah, I love this film. I think it's unique, it's subtle, and, it's incredibly thought-provoking, and it's interpretive, and I think it's quite great. It's not going to be as universally... It's not going to have that universal appeal in the same way that, like, Parasite did or anything. But I feel like this is still a film that can reach people. Like, I don't think this is a film that you really have to be, like, an art film lover or, like, a film snob to really enjoy and to really get something out of it. But anyway, again, I'm rambling again. But that's all I'll say. I will pass it on to Eric. Go ahead, man.
Yeah, so moving is exactly the word that I would use to describe this movie. Moving and beautiful. This is my second time watching it, but I was more than happy to shoot a review and share my thoughts and watch it again, obviously. I feel like I could praise this movie all day. My favorite thing about it, I feel, is the chemistry between the two main actors. They just work so well together. They're incredibly believable, and their relationship and what they do for each other, I guess, is, like, I feel like the most important thing about the movie.
Are you talking about the driver?
Yeah, the driver and the main guy.
Mm-hmm.
This movie is just, like, so thematically rich, and just, yeah, like Carlos touched on, the first 20-30 minutes are just, like, completely building up. You don't really know where the movie's gonna take you, but I feel like once you just lend your patience and lend your attention to the movie, it's so rewarding. It's completely
Absolutely.
Rewarding. The way the movie reveals its information is just, like, really mature and dialed back, and lends you a lot of respect as an audience member.
Yeah, there's hardly anything in this film that like is spoon feeding you anything. Whether like, and it's not even just information. Like, it's not spoon feeding you emotion. It's not spoon feeding you theme. It's not spoon feeding you story information. It's just like everything that this film offers. It's basically just kind of giving you, it's giving you what it thinks that you can understand, and that's what I loved about it. Is that it's like Eric said, it's not here to really just hand you everything on a silver platter, but give you just enough to really understand it.
Right, and even the filmmaking itself is really great. I love, I really love the driving sections. Like, they're just, I don't know, really calming, really cathartic.
Yeah.
And that's purposeful too, because I mean, the car is very, very meaningful to the main character. And his drives are also just something where he can like decompress, and I really love shit like that.
Yeah.
All the acting is really great and very believable. There's a lot of characters in the movie, and not all of them have like a really big role, but they're memorable in some way. Their personalities stick out in some way, at least they do for me. But yeah, I fucking love this movie so much, and I want to let Perry give his thoughts too.
It's crazy because like when I first saw this film, like I thought this is one of the best films of 2021, but now seeing it for the second time, I think this is the best film of 2021.
Nice.
I was thinking about it, and I was going back between Titan and Drive My Car. And even though Titan is obvious, that and Red Rocket are going to go down as two of my all-time favorites, I think objectively Drive My Car is the best film I've seen in 2021. I know it's technically 2022, but this is a 2021 release. But yeah, I just think this is a phenomenal film. Like the boys were saying, it's a very understated film. And that's what I really appreciate, when you can have such a reserved filmmaker making such a powerful movie, as opposed to always relying on, like, you know, OCD cinematography and, you know, flashy 4:3 aspect ratio, black and white. You know, the old I guess, like, cliches that a lot of art house filmmakers fall back on. Mm-hmm. Not that I'm not saying there's anything wrong with them, but it's just interesting to see a film that, like you said, can just be so universal. Like, the thing is, if you can get past the runtime of this movie and the pacing, I honestly don't see how you couldn't enjoy this film.
It is a very mature film.
It is.
So, like, you know, I could see, like, a 13-year-old watching Parasite and being like, this fucking movie rocks.
Yeah.
I really can't say the same for this movie. Like, this is, for me, like, a film that's made for, like, grown-ups in a way.
Yeah, it is. But even though it's not universal, like, that's not something that I think really, like...
It doesn't take away from its quality.
Exactly,
Yeah.
because I just thought, like, the acting and even the cinematography, even if it's not, like, flashy, like, the cinematography is just gorgeous. I mean, there's just so much thought put into every shot. There's a lot of wide-angle lens. I notice in a lot of dramas, and I'm glad this film doesn't do this, they'll have really tight close-ups on the actor to try to, like, drain the emotion out of the scene. And of course, the score will like swell up to tell the audience how they're supposed to feel. There's no tight close-ups. Everything, pretty much the entire film is using wide-angle lenses. And like you said, the score is used sparingly, and it's very understated, just like the rest of the movie. And I just love the pacing of the film, and like I said, how character information is revealed.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just such an incredibly cathartic experience.
Because there's a conflict, like there's this central conflict of the film that's basically established in the first 20 minutes of the film, and basically throughout this film, as it progresses, you're wondering how this conflict is going to unfold between these two characters. You know, is it going to pop off in this really dramatic way? You know, how is this conflict going to be explored in this film? And we get such an amazing scene. Like, I don't know if it's the halfway point of this film, but it feels like it's like maybe like in the halfway point between these two central characters of the film, where they basically do kind of confront each other about this conflict, and it was just so beautifully
it's so
done.
Gripping.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that scene just demands your attention.
And it goes on for like 20 minutes too.
And it doesn't feel like it.
It
at all.
doesn't.
It goes on for a very long time, but like throughout all of its runtime, you're just sitting there like glued to the screen, totally immersed in their engagement and their conversation that they're having. And I mean, it was just such a beautiful and intense moment in the film.
Yeah, weirdly intense when, this movie is not like a thriller or anything.
No.
There's nothing flashy really happening. It's just characters talking, and the dialogue is just so sharp, and the acting is just shining so well with these two characters.
Yeah, and I mentioned this to Perry and Eric, but this film reminded me a lot of a Yang film,
Edward Yang.
Edward Yang, and it, honestly, it's kind of a hot take, but I've only seen two of his films. But like I've seen A Brighter Summer Day and Yi Yi, and I think I like this film more than both of those films.
That's definitely a hot take.
I mean, I can only speak for Yi Yi, and I mean, whatever. I like this movie more than Yi Yi. I'm not gonna lie.
But you haven't seen A Brighter Summer Day. I think the film is phenomenal, but A Brighter Summer Day, one of the greatest films ever made.
It's just like it's really tough because I actually do really love A Brighter Summer Day. I have a video on that film. Yeah. So if you want to check it out, please do. But I just feel like, as we mentioned, it's moments like the one we mentioned just now, between the two main characters and that long scene in the car, that like just makes me like this film just a bit more. But anyway, yeah, it does remind me a lot of a Yang film just because of, again, how dialed back it is. The cinematography isn't flashy. But it's still, obviously really well framed, and it does what it's supposed to do. Again, like the direction isn't flashy in the same way, but it's very effective. And it has a very, like, again, and pretty much every way you look at it, the direction, the writing, and the acting, it's all very subtle and mature in the same way that I would see in a Yang film. But here, I just thought it was so effective here, and it just gives you moments that you're just like, damn, like this is filmmaking.
There's so many memorable scenes.
Yeah.
Like even scenes. Well, one thing I really love about this movie is the use of silence. There's so many really quiet scenes, and there's this one scene in particular where literally every sound of the movie is completely drained.
Yeah.
And I think everybody in the theater was so into it that I literally didn't hear a peep.
Nope.
Not one, munch of popcorn. I didn't even hear anybody's breaths, but it was just so quiet. I don't know.
No, you could hear a pin drop in that theater, dude. Like, it was just like, once it went just full silent, like, it was so silent in that theater that, like, my ears were ringing.
Mine too. Yep.
So, like, yeah, I loved that moment. And again, like, that's a stylistic choice that has like a meaning to it, especially considering the context of what was happening in that moment. That I just think was like so effective. It's such like an immersive experience, and I loved the driver character in this film. I thought not only was she casted great, but I just love the way her character is written.
Oh, she's like my favorite character of the movie.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, she's great. I mean, she's like a mysterious character. She kind of plays that kind of character, but she does it really well, and I think her character is super purposeful to the movie.
Yeah,
it just really adds to it.
There's three, basically, in my opinion, like three main characters in this film, and between all of them, I feel like this film is able to explore similar themes through all these characters. And to me, like, one of the biggest themes that stood out to me is, like, in life, you just kind of have to own it. Like, you have to own your regrets, you have to own your decisions, for better or worse. And I feel like that kind of goes, I don't want to spoil anything too much, but I feel like that's kind of what the scar on the driver's face kind of was trying to like symbolically represent, to show you, like, and just like through all these characters, because you have not only with the main character that is a like a theater director, writer person, but the actor in this film, it's an actor that plays an actor, and he, like, even his character when you have that conflict in the car, like it's also, I feel like there's such an important theme in this film that, you know, is kind of trying to tell the audience that, you know, life's too short to pretend like harsh realities aren't true. And, you know, we're a lot better off just being honest and owning these harsh realities in our life. You know, it doesn't have to always be a harsh reality, but people and humanity in general have such a tendency to kind of ignore these things and, you know, pretend as if certain things didn't happen and just, you know, live life in denial in a way. And I just love the way that central theme was explored. And there's a lot of other, you know...
Yeah, it's very layered.
Yeah, like
themes.
this film explores so many different themes, whether it's about the complexity of, you know, sexuality, the complexity of art, the complexity of love and fidelity and loyalty. And
this may sound a little cheesy, but I'd say forgiveness is definitely a huge theme in the movie.
Yep, that
Not
too.
just forgiving other people, but having the ability to forgive yourself.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I guess just like another thing that I just really loved about this film is, like Eric said, it's just like it's layered in so many ways.
And because this movie's just 3 hours, and obviously the director knows what he's doing, it's able to have all these themes without seeming all over the place. Like, it doesn't feel that way at all. This movie just paces itself so well and gives itself and its characters so much time to breathe and properly develop, I guess.
Yeah, it's like I don't want to get into it. Obviously, I want to be vague as possible so everyone can experience for themselves. But it's like when you hit, I love like the realization of like what certain like mundane things seem like when you first are introduced to something in the story. You don't think much of it, but as the story goes along and recontextualizes everything you see at a certain point, you're like, oh, this is what this character means to that character. This is what this everyday routine means to this character.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just so incredibly cathartic, and it just reaches a certain point in the film where it just hits you all at once. And the emotional payoff of the film, it's not like, oh, this is where we need to have our emotional climax. Like, it feels like it's a very naturally, like, the film progresses to it naturally, as opposed to, we need to have the emotional climax here.
It all feels very earned.
Exactly.
Very earned. Yeah, there's no scene where like some lesser Oscar bait movie will be like, oh yeah, this is the scene where like you're going for the Oscar. Like this movie,
we're gonna use the score to manipulate the audience and tell the audience how to feel, and we're gonna get really tight close-ups on the actors, fake crying and shit like that. There's none of that. It's just the complete antithesis of all that, and I love it. I love it for that, and I really respect this film. Which
makes it even more awesome that it got nominated for so much shit.
Yeah.
Like, if I had seen this film prior to the Oscar noms, I would have not have guessed that it would have gotten nominated for all this.
Me too. Yeah.
Imagine seeing this before you made the 2021 list.
Yeah, okay, if I had seen this before making that list, I don't know, it wouldn't... I can't say that it'll be my number one right now because I just watched it, but it would be at the very least in my top 3, like hands down.
That's so awesome.
That's the thing, is like this, Titan, and like Red Rocket are like so close for me, but I think like objectively this is the best film I've seen out of the 2021 releases. If it's maybe not my personal favorite, I would say Titan is my personal favorite, but objectively this is the best.
That's really interesting. Honestly, I didn't think anything was gonna beat fucking Titan for you.
Yeah, me and Perry.
It's crazy because I'm wearing the shirt right now.
Yeah.
Me and Perry
got you that shirt,
are basically in the same boat. Of Titan has been on number 1 since we've watched it. But yeah, I was like, oh shit, this might actually beat Titan because that was like so untouchable. But like I said, I loved Drive My Car so much the first time around, and I just grew a even deeper love after this second watch.
Yeah, I think,
absolutely.
I mean, Pig was my number 1, and I know that Drive My Car is like objectively better than Pig, but like personally, I don't know if I'd put it above of it yet, because I also found Pig just incredibly meaningful, and it just really moved me in certain ways.
Exactly. I want to mention that, like, not only do I think this is just a great film, like, technically, This movie like is very meaningful to me.
Yeah, both Perry and Eric shed some tears in the theater.
Yeah, I cried like
Dude,
4 or 5
I
times.
cried so many times during
Yeah.
this second watch.
Which is crazy because like I cry a lot during movies. Like it doesn't take a lot to make me cry, but for some reason this film didn't make me cry. It made me feel a lot. That's for sure. It made me feel so much. It didn't get tears out of me, but I mean, who knows? Maybe it could be because the fucking soundproofing was so bad in the theater. That
Oh, yeah.
I kept hearing like, you know, the theaters next to us, like the loud fucking moments in each theater next to us during like really like intimate and intense moments that like sometimes it was hard for me to like feel everything the film wanted me to feel.
Well, I didn't cry as much the first time around. It got me way more this time.
Yeah, same here. Because there would literally be like a perfect scene, and then like we talked about the score being used sparingly, like it just kicks in and you see a wide shot of just the car just beaming down the road, and it's like, oh, it's literally like it's one of those this is cinema moments. You want to throw your hands up in the air and say, "This is cinema."
Absolutely.
Yeah, this film is very bittersweet. There is a lot of pain in this movie, but it just like at the end of it, it's just so beautiful.
It's just such a rewarding experience.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't agree more. I guess we should give ratings.
Yep.
We talked a lot about it. I love this film to death. I'm so glad that it got nominated for Best Adapted Screenplay, right? That's what it got nominated for, right?
Adapted international feature. Yeah. This dude, Best Director, Denis Villeneuve got snubbed, but Drive My Car got in. That's fucking insane.
That is crazy.
But I mean, the Oscars obviously that's a whole touchy subject, and it's obviously not always a measure of quality.
But surprisingly, like the screenplay to me might have been to me the most impressive aspect.
Yes,
of this film.
absolutely.
Yep, I'm with you.
So like I'm glad out of all things that it got nominated for, they especially got nominated for this. So that's really awesome.
And what's crazy is this is adapted from, I forget the author's name, but the author also wrote
Haruki Murakami.
Yeah, he also wrote the short story that Burning was adapted from, and
another fucking fantastic film.
Yeah, fucking masterpiece in my opinion.
It's crazy because I wasn't huge on Burning, but I fucking love this movie. So
they're very different.
They're very different.
They're very different experiences, even though they have similar approaches, I guess.
That, and you haven't seen Burning since 2018, so maybe you'd feel differently if you watched it.
I'll give it another shot sometime. Why not? But anyway, yeah. So
let's get a rating.
Yeah, I love this film. I think every aspect of it is fantastic. It's very meaningful. I think the messages are delivered in a very powerful and yet subtle way. And I'm really glad it got nominated for a bunch of shit. I'll give this movie a solid 9 out of 10. I don't think I would give it the perfect grade just yet. I mean, it might get a 10 on rewatch. I'm not sure. But I'm going to be a bit reserved, and I'll give the film a solid 9 out of 10 because that's how I feel at this moment.
So, I am going to go there. I'm going to give it that perfect 10 out of 10. I gave it a 9 after my first watch, but watching this movie, I was like, I love that. I love that. I love that. So, fuck it. I think this movie deserves the 10.
I could see it going up on rewatch just because, like, after you now know where this movie goes, I feel like you'll be able to pick up, like, on details better, like, on second watch.
Yeah.
True.
I definitely picked up on a lot more upon rewatch. I think I'm going to give Drive My Car. I haven't given a 10 for any 2020 release.
Will this be it?
No.
That's okay.
No.
Mid 9 out of 10.
Hey, so we're in the same boat.
Yeah. I mean, that's still like the highest rating I've given a 2021.
I still haven't given a single 2021 film a 10 either.
I haven't given a 10 out since The Lighthouse. And that was 2019, so it's been a couple years for me.
What was the last 10 I gave out for a new
Climax.
movie? Damn, really?
Was it really?
Yeah.
Damn.
April 2019.
That means it's weird because I'm like the most lenient, I would say, when it comes to grades, but I apparently have been more harsh on giving a perfect grade because that's a long time ago.
Well, I mean, there's not a lot of perfect films in existence. You gotta wait for that special one.
That's true.
Yeah, I mean, just a disclaimer. I mean, I gave Titan a 10. I don't I don't know. I just personally really love that movie so much where it just bumped it up to a 10. I'm like, fuck it. I don't care.
Yeah, because at first you gave it like a 9, right? Like a solid 9.
Yeah, both Drive My Car and Teton were at a 9 for a while. And then I just love them so much that I'll give it a 10.
Nice. Well, all right. That's about it. Should I plug anything? I don't know. Watch my trailer reaction for Men. I don't.
Give this man at least $5 and join the Discord and talk to all of us.
Yeah. Join the Discord. It's always a blast. You can talk about Drive My Car with us all day, every day if you want. You can talk about any movie you want, pretty much, as long as you've seen it. But we even have a spoiler tab, so if you want to go into a spoiler discussion with people who have seen films, you can have fun with that too. Movie nights all the time. There's a movie night going on right now that we unfortunately couldn't join because we watched Drive My Car.
They're watching Wizards by Ralph Bakshi.
Charlotte's movie night.
Not to mention spoiler film discussions every Saturday.
Yeah, we always have a blind rec every week, and we discuss it every Saturday night in voice chat, so join the Discord. It's a blast. And I guess
guaranteed to make friends as long as you want them.
Yeah. Well, all right. Thank you for watching this video. If you really enjoyed what we had to say about Drive My Car, give this video a thumbs up and share it amongst your friends. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel to be updated on more film-related content. See ya.